Chapter 2 The Wrong Country. I thought I landed in the wrong country. Filipino culture is fascinated with and shaped by Hollywood movies and beauty pageants. There were two television events that Mama and I watched live every year: the Academy Awards and the Miss Universe pageant. From an early age, they shaped my vision of the world and of America. The America of my imagination was the America in Pretty Woman, Sister Act, and Home Alone. The America of Julia Roberts, Whoopi Goldberg, and Macaulay Culkin. The moment I landed at Los Angeles International Airport, I expected to see people who looked like Julia, Whoopi, and Macaulay, people who looked like the people I watched during the Oscars. Instead, I was greeted by something like the Parade of Nations that kicked off the annual Miss Universe pageant, with each contestant speaking in their own tongue. The America I first encountered at the airport was a polyphonic culture that looked like and sounded like what a bigger world was supposed to look and sound like. In the Philippines, there were two types of weather: hot and really hot. Even when it was raining, even when typhoons knocked down trees and flooded homes, including ours, I don't ever remember feeling cold. The varied weather in California, warm and sunny in the day, cool and nippy at night, required an instant adjustment. I learned how to layer my clothes, and I was introduced to a thing called a sweater. I owned jackets, but had no sweaters. The bigger adjustment was living with new people: my grandparents, whom I called Lolo, Grandpa, and Lola, Grandma, and my mother's younger brother, Roland. Until Uncle Roland moved to the U.S. in 1991, he lived with Mama and me. Lola had visited the Philippines twice, bringing bags of Snickers and M&Ms and giving relatives and friends money: $1 bills, $5 bills, sometimes $10 bills, like she was an ATM machine. If the word generous were manifested in one person, it would be Lola. I only knew Lolo from the photographs, where he was always posing. Back straight, stomach out, chin up, the posture of someone used to being watched. He posed in front of the house, in front of his red Toyota Camry, in front of some hotel in some town called Las Vegas. I was barely 3 years old when Lolo moved to America. By the time I arrived in Mountain View, California, Lolo had become a naturalized U.S. citizen. He legally changed his first name from Teofilo to Ted, after Ted Danson from Cheers. To celebrate my arrival, Lolo organized a party that introduced me to all the relatives I'd only heard about but never met. There were so many of them, it was like we had our own little village. Among the attendees were Flory, Rosie, and David, Lolo's siblings, whom I was instructed to call Lolo and Lola as a sign of respect. Filipinos liked honorifics. Everyone older than you is either a kuya if he's male, or an ate if she's female, unless they are a Lolo or a Lola. You call them uncle or auntie, even when you're not actually related. Lola Flory, in particular, commanded respect. Lola Flory, who worked in electronics, and Lola Burney, her husband, who served as a U.S. Marine, owned the house that we were living in. Their two American-born sons, Kuya Burney and Kuya Gilbert, spoke very little Tagalog, yet still managed to instantly welcome me into the family. Lola Flory was the matriarch of the matriarchs in the family. She was the reason her older brother Ted and her younger sister Rosie had been able to come to America. Lola Rosie, the loudest and friendliest of my extended family, announced that Uncle Conrad had driven 7 hours just to see me in person. Uncle Conrad was a legend in our family, having escaped a life of harvesting rice and doing construction work in the Philippines to becoming an officer in the United States Navy, a point of pride for all of us. Standing no taller than 5'3" and speaking English with a gravelly guttural Tagalog accent, Uncle Conrad was in charge of 92 enlisted personnel. He was Lolo's favorite. Masayang masaya na kami na nandito ka na, Uncle Conrad said in front of the entire family as Lolo looked on. We are very happy you are here. To Lolo, America was something you wear, something you buy, something you eat, and he wanted to spoil his first and only grandson, me. It was consumption all around. In the Philippines, I got to eat ice cream only on my birthday, sometimes during Christmas dinner, and to ring in the New Year. I don't think I'd consumed as much ice cream in my entire life as I did in the first few weeks and months in America. To welcome me to my new home, Lolo's way of showing his love for me and showing off America was buying a tub of Neapolitan ice cream, vanilla, strawberry, and chocolate flavors all rolled into one, for $5.99. I must have eaten a tub a week. Another way that Lolo showed his affection was by printing my name using a bold black Sharpie on every piece of clothing I wore, most of which were the t-shirts, shorts, pants, and underwear that Lolo and Lola had purchased before I even arrived. Ako ang nagdala sa iyo dito, Lolo told me on the day he signed me up for school. I brought you here. He said it in a voice that emanated pure joy and familial ownership. I didn't have a relationship with my father. I saw him no more than 5 times in my whole life. Shortly after I arrived in Mountain View, it was clear that Lolo would become the father figure I never had.